Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. It's been a while. It's been a bit. Miller decided to go run in the woods for a bit and got lost. We found him, thankfully, after 3 months.
Don't tell them where I am. They'll find me.
What was that? No, it sounded like a ghost.
Ooh.
But yeah, sorry for the big break between podcasts. Just that some stuff happened. Me and Miller got sick, and I got busy during a couple months. But yeah, we're back. We're back. Hopefully for a long time. Uh,
I
every
actually died, and I am not Miller. I am his cousin. It's kind of like that Avril Lavigne conspiracy theory, but true.
uh,
I died, and I replaced him. So
I would say it's gonna be like Gears of War with Carbine. If you know anything about Gears of War, I guess people at home
I
probably know.
I played it. I didn't follow the lore very much.
So there's this character.
Did
Okay,
someone?
let me explain it real quick. There's a character called Carbine, and in every game he dies. But in every game, so the first game he dies. Second game he has like a brother that goes by Carbine, and he's the exact same character, and then he dies. And then in the next game, he had another brother who's also known as Carbine, who's the exact same person, and then he dies. And then I think one was like a sister, and then that's kind of like the running joke with Gears of War with that character is that he just keeps coming back.
That actually sounds familiar to something else too, but I can't remember what it was. Um, Something about someone dying and someone just replacing them. What was it? I
They
don't
did
know.
that in
It'll come to
Urban
me in the
Legend,
middle of the night.
I think. In the second Urban Legend, yeah, they did that. Where like I think when that guy died, he had a twin brother, and it just didn't matter.
Wasn't there a serial killer that died and then someone else took his place and they just kept going with it?
I think so. I don't remember.
I don't know. It'll come to me. I'll text you at 5 o'clock in the morning.
It makes
Probably almost
sense.
already 5 o'clock. It
It
is
is five
after five
o'clock. Yeah,
o'clock.
it's 5 in the morning. Everybody at home. If we wonder what time it is. But yeah, I hope you
I'll
guys
text
also
you
like.
at 9 o'clock in the morning when we're both sleeping.
Yes. Hope everyone likes the new layout. I made this quickly in MS Paint. So it's a work in progress, but you know what? This is something I kind of wanted to do. Make it look a little bit better instead of just like recording a Discord call.
I like it. I dig it.
Yeah. But no, more will be added to it over time, so hope you guys enjoy this. Yeah, today, big day. We're gonna talk about our first franchise movie that we've told people what we're gonna do. What we're gonna do. It's Scream. We're covering Scream.
No, I thought you said no spoilers.
We're, well, I guess one spoiler, which is yeah, we're gonna review the franchise known as Scream, and we're starting with the first movie, released back in 1996. So that's this episode. Hope you guys
That was
doing.
the one with Reese Witherspoon, right?
Yeah, totally.
And Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, with Sharon Stone too.
That's funny because they reference Sharon Stone in.
Yeah, get it? It's a joke.
Damn, you're good at this.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, yeah, we're reading Scream. This movie came back in 1996. It was directed by Wes Craven, which is, I would say, this movie probably defined the genre a little bit
Oh yeah.
because it was like one of the first movies out that like did the whole meta horror thing, where like the characters kind of know they're in a horror movie, and it kind of plays off of that, which is really good. They do a really good job doing that in this movie. And like I would
Well,
say,
most of the.
oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you Edwards.
Oh, I was gonna say most of the time when you watch horror movies, it's like the people in the movie don't know what horror movies are.
Yeah, it
Like you
seemed
watch
like
a
that.
zombie movie and they're like, this doesn't make any sense. It's like, come on. Everyone there knows what those are. Everyone there knows what's gonna happen. Don't split up. Everyone there knows what's gonna happen when you split up. But they're like horror. The horror genre does not exist in horror movies. It's weird.
I mean, there are references to horror movies. Like they'll talk about like this ain't a horror movie, and then they kind of like deny it. But this one kind of like they believe they're kind of in a horror movie situation, and they kind of play off of that a little bit. Which I would say this movie, if you're a big horror fan, you probably watched it like 100 times. Like I watched it a good amount of times. Miller watched it a good amount of times. Like I think everybody watched this movie and knows about this movie. But we're
It's
gonna.
actually my first time.
Oh wow, really?
No,
Wow, you're a liar.
I'm a
Wow.
terrible liar.
God damn it. But yeah, so spoiler free section, I guess. Go see it. It's great. You can watch it on YouTube. You can rent it on YouTube. You can also watch it on any other streaming platform. I don't know which ones have it. We watched it on YouTube, but because you can rent it on YouTube. So I don't know if it's anywhere else you can watch it. I'm pretty sure like Prime Video probably has it.
I actually recommend finding your nearest Blockbuster and renting it, like we all did when we were kids.
Yeah, you go to Blockbuster, you rent this movie. Look like the good old days.
Just drive over to Oregon.
You know, fun fact, when I saw the cover art for this movie, I thought it was going to be like a drama.
The drama?
Like a drama movie, from the cover of it. Because do you know what the cover of this movie looks like?
I haven't seen it in a while.
I mean, you
Oh,
have...
I've got it. Actually, I have it open right now,
Yeah.
don't I?
Let's say you have it open.
Shit, not that one. Hang on, I've got too many windows. Man on woman, midget on man, man on dog, man on. Oh, sorry. No, it's here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Oh, okay. The woman holding her mouth.
Yeah, and like the cast lined up, yeah. Because it doesn't really look like a horror movie from the cover. It just kind of looks like a drama, kind of, but it's not.
Is that who is that on the cover? Is that Drew Barrymore or is that?
I know they're all on there, like all the actors are on there. I don't know if who's the lady.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of. Wait, are you thinking of the one where it's just like the woman's face with her hand covering her mouth?
Yeah, there's that one, then there's another one where it's like the whole cast lined up, like below the face. So I think there's two.
And they've been doing that with like all the later ones too, right?
Kinda, yeah. Although I think the later one, they just show the Ghostface mask and then it's just the cast. I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, go see this movie if you haven't seen it yet. If you're interested in, like, let's say if it's your first time going to horror, be like, tell me a good horror movie to start out with. I would probably say Scream.
Yeah, if you've never seen a horror movie and you want to get into the genre, this is like you said, it's a genre-defining movie.
Yeah.
I think a lot of later movies kind of followed off of this, especially like the keep you guessing who the killer is.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because like countless horror movies or slasher films have been like keep you guessing. Like Nightmare on Elm Street. I didn't realize Freddy was the killer until like the third movie.
Really? I would say a good example of like guessing who the killer is would probably be like, God, which one would be? There's so many of them out there. I just can't think of one. My Bloody Valentine.
The one that we just the Christmas one that we just watched the other day.
Oh yeah, It's a Wonderful Knife.
Yeah.
Well, the thing
It kind of keeps you guessing.
No, we knew that who he was like immediately in the beginning though. Because okay, spoiler for that movie. Like the guy who kills people dies, and then you see his face, and then later there's some weird magic stuff happens, and he comes back. Well, I guess no. When they come back in that weird thing, yeah, okay, I can see what you mean by that. Yeah.
Oh wait, no, yeah, I guess you are right. We knew who the killer was, but the people in the movie kept guessing.
Yeah.
What is a good example? There's plenty of like I literally just got done saying countless horror movies have done this, and now I can't think of one.
I mean, My Bloody Valentine's one.
Ooh, we got to do that one, don't we?
Yeah.
We got that one coming up.
Oh yeah, Valentine's Day. We gotta do that episode.
Like 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
It's February 14th.
So there might be a break between the Scream stuff, so we can cover My Bloody Valentine, but the rest should be fine. And maybe St. Patrick's Day. I don't know. We'll do like a Leprechaun. Well, we'll probably do Leprechaun, right?
Yes, please. Oh, I love Leprechaun.
I know I said Maniac Cop, 'cause that's technically also a St. Patrick's Day horror movie, but we'll do Leprechaun. Yeah, like Michael Valentine, they didn't know who the guy was. Well, at first, I think it was the guy who escaped from the insane asylum. Spoiler, by the way, big spoiler for this movie. But then it's actually some other dude. So it's kind of like that, where you just think it's somebody, but it's somebody else. It's kind of the same genre, like, type of horror where you're trying to guess who the killer is, but then at the end you realize it's the boyfriend, and then you're just like, oh my god.
Every time, it's always the boyfriend.
Yeah, either the boyfriend or the nerdy guy who wants to get with the main girl but doesn't, and then he just goes mad.
Who has it never been? Like, who's a cliche horror movie character that has never been the killer? Because the cop has been the killer, the boyfriend's been the killer, the nerdy guy's been the killer, the who's never been the killer? The final girl has been the killer, I think, in a movie.
Yeah, and a
I
couple
don't
of
remember
them
which one.
been revealed to be the murderer. I would guess probably the slut.
I think you're right, because the slut always has to die.
Yeah.
You learn that from Cabin in the Woods.
Yes, the movie we keep referring back to when we talk about this stuff. Cabin in the Woods.
Like, it's right up there with Scream as like an iconic horror movie.
Yeah.
That's a good. I think that's probably the best answer. The slut has never been the. And I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful by using the word slut, but that's we're talking cliche horror movie characters. That's a cliche horror movie character. Not being disrespectful. I am a slut.
I'll be like
So,
someone who's a
I
slut.
can't.
Like, how dare you?
Well, that's why I had to clarify that, because my split personality, my other personality, the one that goes out to the bars and picks up people all the time, was like, stop slut shaming me, and I'm like, I'm you. Calm down. Have another drink.
Oh my god. But yeah, it was great. Like we said, it defined a genre. I think it's one of Wes Craven's best work out there that he did, along with like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh yeah, I don't even think he did. Nobody knows anything else that he did.
He. So I guess fun fact about Wes is that he used to direct pornography a little bit under a different name. Which I know that because the name is used in Scream 6 as a name for a store they go to in Scream 6.
Do you can you give me just a little bit more?
Up. I don't remember it, so you gotta look it up yourself, man.
Pornography. It's just a little bit more. Give me something to go on, just for the sake of the podcast. If you...
It's for research. But yeah, Wes directs a lot of good movies, and personally, I know this might be biased. I do enjoy New Nightmare. I thought New Nightmare was pretty good. I know a lot of people. Don't think it's a lot of people. I know people still told me that it's not great, but I think New Nightmare is actually a really good one. And it's on the same genre, well, it's the same type of thing as like Scream, kind of. Where New Nightmare, look, spoiler for New Nightmare, it's not played on characters, more played on the actors, and the thing in the movie's happening to the actors and not the characters. So, which I thought was pretty cool.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I've even seen Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
You should check it out. It's pretty good.
I was never and I don't want to get any hate for this, but who am I kidding? I love getting hate. I'm not a huge Nightmare on Elm Street fan. I love Robert Englund. I love Freddy Krueger.
Is it all the movies or just like anything after the first one?
I think anything after the first one. The first one I enjoyed. I just don't like the direction they went with.
Yeah,
Freddy
they
Krueger.
went with like the first two. He was kind of serious and scary, and the rest is just him being like goofy, which didn't make sense.
Yeah, I think what turned me off of the whole Nightmare on Elm Street was when they I don't remember which one it was, Dream Warriors maybe, where they like realized that they could be whatever they wanted in their dreams, so they were like wizards, and like so it went from Freddy Krueger being like this iconic horror villain to him running away from these like wizards. I was like, what is this?
I'm the wizard. I don't remember what he said. I think he says like, "I'm the wizard master." Ooh.
I just love like going back now and watching even Friday the 13th, like going
Yeah,
back and
a
watching
lot of the horror
some of
movies
those
back
old
then
ones.
went that direction to being kind of wacky, which I didn't,
Yeah.
which I don't think was a good idea because I think I mean I know some people like Jason Takes Manhattan. People like Jason Takes Manhattan. I don't mind it. I don't think it's bad, but if it's like if you compare it to like the second one or even the first one, it's very different.
Well, people want the classic, like you can call it cliche, you can say it's overdone, but people want the classic cabin in the woods, group of college students, group of teenagers get slaughtered by a killer in the middle of nowhere where help's not coming. You can redo that over and over and over again, and people are gonna people are gonna watch it.
Yeah,
But there's all these people out there that are like, we're gonna redefine horror, and then they try it and everyone's like, boo, you suck.
and then they just hold on to the IP and never use it again.
like
Friday 13.
like freaking what is his name, Bruce Campbell, um why am I having Evil Dead.
Yeah, Evil
Like
Dead.
Evil Dead was kind of like, I think the who was the director of Evil
Sam
Dead.
Raimi.
Yeah, Sam Raimi. I feel like he had the same mindset as me. He's like, people don't want new. People want this.
Yeah, and like it works out. I mean, a lot of people love cabin stuff. People can't get help. Cell phones don't work. I think that's also another thing that's good about older movies is that they don't have cell phones. Because it's just like
Hmm.
most movies would be like, why don't you just call somebody? You have a cell phone. Where were the only movies cell phones were even invented yet? So
Like, so like a kid these days watching one of those old movies, like, this is so stupid. They can just call 911.
yeah,
Let me tell you a horror story of my own. Back in the 90s, if you wrecked on your bike on County Y, you were as good as dead.
and there was a pet cemetery not too far away, but behind that pet cemetery is a magical place. Never go there. Remember, dead is better.
You know what would be a funny scene in a satire horror movie?
What?
Like, imagine like an old guy, like the Harbinger, to go back to Cabin in the Woods, being like, now if you follow this road right down a couple of miles, it's not on your map, but you take a left turn, and then it immediately cuts to some like snobby teenage girl, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, it's on the map. I just pulled it up on Google Images. Why is there a tripwire?" It's like, fuck, we're busted.
We're gonna call now. But yeah, back to Scream though. I'm keeping that in though because that was fun to talk about. But Scream, it definitely defied that type of stuff. It did give you the tropes kind of in that movie. You got like Sydney, who's the virgin of the movie, and then you got like Billy is the boyfriend, Stu is the friend of Billy, and I think the group they're like a friend group pretty much. Also, I would say this is also probably inspired Among Us, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, absolutely.
I
And
think
the thing. Wait, did the thing come out before?
I,
When did the thing come out?
I don't remember.
It definitely added to the whole mistrust of those that you think you can trust.
I mean, there's even a ghost. I think there's a ghost face cosmetic in Among Us too.
Probably. It's iconic. That's why I
Yeah.
thought well, that's why I wasn't sure. That's why I had to ask you when we were watching the movie if they created the mask for this movie or if they.
Nope, that's a fun fact right there. That mask is from Fun World. Fun World, and Fun World makes you could if you want you can look up Fun World. They still sell those masks. They also sell the DVD mask. Well, Dead by Daylight for people who don't know who it is, which I imagine people who watch the video probably knows what DVD is.
What is
They
that?
Dead by Daylight.
DVD, like, is that like a oh that's that game that you get together with your friends and you play and you roll the dice and you make up who your character is. I
Yeah,
got it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's that. But no, you can buy like the mask from DVD. Like you can buy the Blighted Ghostface mask, or you can buy like the Ice Ghostface mask on the other website. Like I bought a Ghostface mask off the website a while ago, and it's a good quality too.
Well, yeah, I guess they continued. We were joking about them only getting $100 to
Yeah,
give the rights to that mask, but I'm sure they've made millions of dollars off of that mask ever since then.
probably. Yeah, I guess. I'm pretty sure after this movie came out, so many people probably went dressed up as Ghostface for Halloween.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
Halloween of 1996.
yeah.
I bet every kid went as Ghostface.
It's like with Terrifier, where like on Halloween, everyone is Art the Clown.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they even made a joke about that in Terrifier 2, I think it was, right? Where the little boy wanted to go as Terrifier, and his mom was like, "No, that's horrible. You can't do that."
Yeah, because he wanted to dress up as a real serial killer that was in the movie.
I probably like Fun World has probably made over $50 just off me alone because I think I've probably bought at least a dozen Ghostface masks in my life.
Yeah. But yeah, that's another fun fact. So yeah, they got West. So I guess fun fact time. When they made the mask, they were making their own mask for a while, and I think you could see it in the beginning because they had a little. It looked a little bit different in the beginning, and after a while, they didn't like anything they did. But then someone just had like that mask on set because they just brought it in, and it was just like that's perfect. So they talked to Fun World. I think this is the story. I could be wrong. And they were like, "Hey, can we use your mask for the movie?" And I guess the people who were running Fun World were like, "Well, if he gives $100, yeah, sure." And then they did, and Fun World didn't know how big it would get afterwards.
They were sitting there after the phone call, like those suckers.
Yeah, because I think they said they would have charged more if they knew how big this movie was gonna get.
Well, they still like we said before. I'm sure they still made like they're still making profit off of that because that's the
Yeah,
most iconic. Second to like a hockey mask and a Michael Myers mask, but a Michael Myers mask is just
it's
who's
a
the actor that
William
that's
Shatner.
William Shatner. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just an inside out
like
William Shatner mask. Oh, no, it's not an inside out. I think it's just one that's painted white.
that's weird. That's such a weird thing. I remember when I first learned that, and I was like, "That's ridiculous. There's no way."
Oh, yeah, I mean
You
it's very interesting learning about like a lot of stuff that happened on movies that are just like, oh, that was kind of weird. You know, they made that from William Shatner mask. They paid $100 to use the Ghostface mask.
I still prefer is it Scary Movie or Shriek where they have the lore behind how the Ghostface mask came to
I
be.
think it was Shriek. Because when his mask normal, then his face got lit on fire, and then he like put it out, and it was the
Was
Ghostface mask.
just a normal white mask, and then he went to light a cigarette.
Yeah,
Then he shoves it in the bird bath, and when he comes up, it looks like the Ghostface mask.
yeah.
I think I peed my pants when I first.
To be honest, listeners, when me and Billy were watching, we watched Scream before doing this. We both couldn't stop thinking scary movie while watching this.
There would be like a serious scene in the movie, and one of us would just start chuckling.
Yeah,
And then both of us would start chuckling, and then we'd start busting out because we just compared it to the scary movie scene. Because it's like scene for scene. I didn't realize how scene for scene this movie was to scary movie, or scary movie was to this movie.
yeah. Which fun fact also about the name Scary Movie. So technically, Scream was supposed to be known as Scary Movie, but I think the producers thought that was too that wasn't scary enough, so they went with Scream. So
And then the Wayans brothers were like, "That's where we came in."
yeah, right. That's what we took Scary Movie and made it our own. But yeah.
All right.
So okay, after that, slashes. What rating would you give this movie? And I'll let you know
How did
on Rotten Tomato, it had a 78% on Rotten Tomato, which is kind of a that should be higher.
audience or critic?
I think it was critic. Audience, I think it's at 88.
It's probably pretty similar, I'd imagine. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't until recently that the audience and critic scores started being polar opposites of each other. Um, honest, what is it out of 10?
Out of 10, yeah. 10 being or not House on Hill. My God. 10 being Cabin in the Woods, 1 being Thanksgiving 3.
Thanksgiving. I I would be remiss if I didn't give this a 10 because this is one of
Yeah.
the most iconic horror movies. Everyone knows it, everyone loves it. I don't think I've ever met a single person who doesn't like the original Scream. I have to give it a 10.
I think me too. Yeah, I had to give it a 10 too because it's very iconic. I think it really like also made a lot like was inspiration for like a lot of other horror movies. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like other
Oh
ones
yeah.
that came out. Like for example, Urban Legends like one. Um, My Bloody Valentine came out before Scream, so not that. Um, so a movie called Valentine. That's kind of like Scream. Like a lot of people use Scary Movie as like inspiration for their movies, and it's you can see it in a lot of like stuff. Like I said, Dead by Daylight. We have Ghostface, but it's not really Scream Ghostface. It's just something else wearing the outfit, but you still kind of get it. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Well, someone
the mask is also very iconic. Like you said, like so many people bought the mask. Like even nowadays, people still buy the mask because it's so iconic.
Yeah. Well, it would be like saying like if anyone who's a fan of horror movies said that they didn't like Scream,
They're a
it
fake
would
fan.
be
Fake
like a
fan.
it, it would be like a guy like a rock buff saying that he doesn't like the Rolling Stones or the Beatles. It would be like imagine someone who loves rock music who's like, "Oh, the Rolling Stones suck." It's like, dude, every band that you listen to was inspired by the Rolling Stones. Shut up. That would be like a horror buff being like, "Ah, Scream sucked." Like every horror movie was inspired by Scream. Shut up.
Yeah.
Scream was the Rolling Stones or the Beatles of horror movies. Well, no, I guess that's not fair because like there were a lot of horror movies before Scream, but I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm drunk. You saved me.
All right, I'll save you. So, yeah, I do agree. I feel like people who like just don't like Scream, like I know that people would be like, "Well, Scream's overrated," blah blah. But I'm like, dude, Scream is good. Like, it's a great movie. And I think it's still one of my. It's like my top 5 favorite movies of all times, or horror movies of all times, I guess. You know, and I feel like a lot of fans probably will agree with that. Scream is a really good movie, and West and everybody else who worked on the movie did a fantastic job. So,
I do have one more thing to say about Ghostface. Um,
that
so I
whoever
saw him. Was that?
that whoever wears the Ghostface suit gets magical powers.
No, but is there any validity to that?
Well, it seems like in every Scream movie, Ghostface seems really resilient and also kind of always the same height.
So it's
So
like the mask. He's like
yes,
a Ace Ventura, not Ace Ventura, Ace Ventura. Jim Carrey
Jim Carrey. Yeah.
when he puts on the mask.
So like we said, go watch it. We're gonna go into the spoiler section now. So if you haven't seen it, watch it. Come back to this. Tell us how you like it. Um, but yeah. So this movie takes place in Woodsboro, California, I believe. Yeah, you said right. It's in California.
Yeah, it's not a real place, but it's a
Nah.
fictional town of Woodsboro.
Yeah. Which, if you're familiar with Woodsboro, I have not seen the movie. That name's been used a lot in like other sources of media and stuff. Um, but yeah, we get the iconic beginning scene of a phone call, and that's when it starts. Drew Barrymore, who plays as Casey, I think her name is Casey. Yeah, answers the phone. Some weird guy on the phone. Uh, Talking kind of weird, being like, "Ooh, what's your name?" He's like, well, "What's your name?" I'm like, "I'm not gonna tell your name until you tell me my name." I'm like, "Okay, why you keep secrets, huh?" Stuff like that.
This is weird, but I'm gonna lie to you and pretend that I don't have a boyfriend because I'm kind of into it.
Yeah, but yeah, so she hangs up on him after he's being weird, and then he calls her again, and he's like, "What are you making there? You making popcorn?" I only make popcorn when I'm watching movies. She's like, "Yeah, I've been watching videos." He's like, "Oh, you're watching scary videos? Ooh, scary movies." And then they do a little back and forth. He asks, "What's her favorite scary movie?" She doesn't have one, but then she says Halloween, because it's that. Which Halloween is? You do see the movie Halloween in this movie. Like towards the end, the movie Halloween is playing on like the TV, so it's kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
But
So,
she had to describe the movie Halloween to him.
yeah, it's like a white guy,
Which
or there's a guy wearing a white mask and he has a knife. It's pretty much.
Huh? Are you describing this movie that we're in right now, or the iconic movie that everyone knows?
And then there's another line that like where they, I think the Ghostface says Nightmare on Elm Street, or does she mention Nightmare on Elm Street? Anyway, yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street mentioned, and she's like, "Well, the first one was good, the rest were pretty bad." Which, by the way, fun fact about that line is that Wes Craven did not know that was a line in the movie. So
But it's an accurate line.
yeah, it's an accurate line.
Sorry, Wes Craven.
Yeah, he's gonna haunt you now. But yeah, so that happens, and then the most creepy line in the movie is that he asks what her name is, and she's like, "Why do you want to know?" And then he says, "Because I want to know who I'm looking at." Immediate chills.
That is, yep, that is. I agree with you. One of the creepiest lines. And then he corrects himself and says, "I want to know who I'm talking to." And she says, "That's not what you said."
And then I think she
I like
hangs
that
up.
back and forth.
Oh yeah, the back and forth with the phone call is really great. And then I think she hangs up, and then she like looks around, and then he calls her back, and it's like, "Well, don't hang up on me." And then
Yeah, well, what is she picks up that time and she goes, "Stop calling me." And he goes, "Listen here, you bitch. If you hang up on me one more time, I will gut you like a fish."
oh yeah, that's another good line too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then Ghostface is like, "Well, you know what? I want to call you because I want to play a game. Look outside." And then like
Yeah.
her boyfriend Steve's out there, which she does mention her boyfriend's coming, and he's like, "Oh, your boyfriend's coming, huh?" Well, he's outside tied to a chair, and you're gonna answer my trivia. And then he asks her a question. I think it was a Halloween question.
Yeah, he said, "Who was the name? What was the name of the killer in Halloween?" And she's like, "I don't know." And he's like, "You just talked about it."
Yeah.
Just...
It's like,
Like, even Ghostface was pissed off there. He's like, "You literally said it was your favorite movie."
which eventually she does say Michael Myers. And then he's like, "Oh, correct." And then he's like, "Okay, next question. Who is the killer in Friday the 13th?" Which, fun fact about this one, if you are a horror buff and you want to get your friends with a question, this is probably the best question you get them with. Just ask them, "Who was the killer in Friday the 13th?" And everyone will just say what she said. It'd be like, "Jason, it was Jason, blah, blah, blah." Where, nope, it was not Jason. It was actually his mom in the first one.
Yeah, which is annoying.
It's a very annoying and, like, snooty question you can ask your friends to prove that you're a horror movie buff. You're like, "Oh, it's actually Jason's mom." And you'd be like, "Oh, I get it. I get it. You know horror movies, okay? You don't have to rub it in by your stupid questions."
Yeah, well, even Jason was a shitty killer until the remake.
I don't think so.
I think it just pissed off a lot of people there.
Yeah, I think he pissed a lot of people off. Like, I think Jason's a good in the movies. Like, even when he became like a zombie, he was still pretty good.
Well, I'm thinking of like the first one that he was in. He was just kind of like he wasn't good at killing.
Yeah, he was just a guy wearing a burlap sack, and they put
Yeah.
a hockey mask.
Yeah, it was kind of embarrassing. I loved that was the probably the only or the first horror movie or the best horror movie remake in my opinion.
No,
Sorry,
I think it's
go
the
on.
best one too. Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. But yeah,
He
so
was just not very good at killing.
yeah, he did his mom's help. Such a mama's boy, God. Anyway, so yeah, she got the question wrong. So Steve's dead. He gets disemboweled, which I know there's some copies of this movie where it actually shows the disembowelment or shows like a more close-up shot to it. They didn't do it because technically when this movie came out, it was supposed to be a little bit more gorier, but the people who do the ratings said that, "Oh, if you release it like this, we'll have to release it with a NC-17 rating," which is not good. That's not good to have in your movie back in the day. So they had to cut down stuff to get an R rating. And then, yeah, so fun fact about that. So yeah, he dies, and then she starts freaking out, and then he asks her another question, being like, "Here's your last question. To see if you can, if you get it right, I'll let you live." Which that's a lie. That's a straight lie.
And they reveal that later on in the movie.
Yeah. And the line is like, "Which door am I at? You have two doors. Either I'm at the patio door or the front door." And then immediately after that, he throws a chair through the patio door.
So that one.
Yes, that one.
I win.
And then of course the Jiffy Pop on the stove is on fire. It's been getting bigger since the phone call, which that's also been made fun of in the in Scary Movie.
But it was like this.
Yeah, it's like as big as the room, and it's just like, oh. We're gonna go
I
back.
can't not laugh when I think of Scary Movie.
There'll be a lot of Scary Movie quotes in this podcast episode, by the way. I'm just letting you know right now because it's like scene for scene of Scary Movie in this one. But yeah. So that happens. House is kind of on fire. I think she grabs a knife and then she gets outside, and then she sees her parents kind of driving up. She starts kind of looks back in the house. Ghostface there, smash her face in with a phone, and then starts running. And then can't outrun Ghostface because he's super fast, and then she gets stabbed. And then he crushes her throat a little bit so she can't scream. He does that, which is, I guess, smart. And then after that, he stabs her more and then drags her away. Parents go to the house, see it's kind of disarray, and they're like, "Oh, what happened?" And then the mom picks up the phone to call the cops. Hears her daughter kind of crying, and she's like, "Oh, where are you? Where?" And then the phone cuts, and then it goes to them outside. Well, she goes outside. The mom does, and then she screams, and there we see Casey hung up in a tree with her guts hanging out, and then gets sued. I think title card after that. No, the title card was the beginning. Yeah. Yeah, the title card was the beginning.
Yeah, and it just kind of goes into the fast forward. Well, like
A day.
8 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, where we see Sydney in a room, and then Billy shows up through the window, like any boyfriend from the '90s would go through the window. And also,
I did that once.
Oh, he went through a window.
Mm-hmm.
Which way, inward or outward?
In. Well, both technically. But yeah, I wanted to be cute, and I climbed into a girl's window one time.
I think that's the most popular
Wasn't cute.
way in like most, I guess, teen romances is that they just go through the window because they're a bad boy and they don't go through the doorway.
I also I did it to my best friend from high school once. I climbed the little antenna thing because it was right by his window on the second floor. I climbed up it and I knocked on his window because we had to do the paper route. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning. The papers just got delivered, and I did the paper route, and he helped me. And he wasn't picking up, and I was throwing rocks at his window, and it didn't work. So I climbed up, and I popped.
He's probably like, "What the hell are you doing?"
It's like, what the fuck, dude? I'm on the second floor. What the fuck are you doing? Try not to do the paper up by myself, motherfucker. It's cold out here.
But yeah, so Billy shows up, and then her dad kind of tries to get in the room, but she locks her door by having another door open up, so the doorknob going onto that door, so you can't open it all the way. She talks to him. Her dad says he'll be gone for a bit. He's going on a trip, and then Billy's hiding, and then Billy, after the dad leaves, Billy kind of shows up again because he's hiding behind the bed.
What did the dad say in Scary Movie? I gotta lay low. The cops are looking.
Oh yeah, he had to lay low because the cops were looking for him. Because I think he sold drugs or something. I don't remember.
It's like a drug deal.
Yeah. And then Billy says a line of like, "I was watching my favorite movie, Exorcist, last night, and it reminded me of you." And I'm like, Or not last night, but
weird.
That night. Which I'm like, I don't know if you can watch The Exorcist and be like, "Oh man." It's like that,
even if like
it's like that meme. It doesn't. Like, I miss her.
Like, it doesn't matter if it's your girlfriend, your best friend, or who it is. If you say like, I was watching Exorcist and it reminded me of you. Like, what if I messaged you tomorrow and I was like, I was watching Exorcist last night and it reminded me of you?
I would be like, well, what part?
What? What?
It's like, what part?
Well, maybe you would understand because you'd be like, oh, it's a horror movie, and
yeah,
you know, we like horror movies. But yeah, it's weird no matter who it is. Like I go
Yeah,
into work tomorrow to my supervisor and I'm like, I was watching Exorcist last night, made me think of you. You're fired.
right. What? No, I mean, you were the priest.
You saved me. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Still weird. Get to work.
But yeah, so after that, they started kind of making out, and then they were about to do it, but then Sydney's like, "No, I don't want to do it because it's close to her mom's death. It's been like almost a whole year since her mom died, and she doesn't want to do it because people said her mom's sleeping around at town and stuff like that. And she just doesn't want to do that." And Billy is kind of just like, "Dude, come on! It's been almost a year. You gotta get over it, Sydney. You gotta get over it. Don't you know? You're playing your piano,
I thought it would set the mood. Sorry.
just pressing like one note." But yeah,
I
so
didn't realize. I never realized that's why she didn't put out. I thought she was just like, well, she's a virgin.
yeah,
I didn't realize it had to do with her mom's anniversary. I just thought she was being a prude.
no,
Nah,
that's
I'm just kidding.
but yeah. So that happens. I think Billy leaves after they have a talk about it because he's like, "Oh, I can't wait forever, Sydney." Blah, blah, blah. He like leaves, and then
But she does do a little bit of
yeah,
flashes.
yeah,
She
it shows.
flashes them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she shows him the goods, and he's like, "Oh yeah." And then I think it cuts to school. I think, and then the whole thing of school's happening. They just heard that Casey's been killed, and now Casey and Steve. I guess I forget about Steve because he kind of was just there, but yeah, it's Casey and Steve.
Nobody cared about Steve. Steve was just in the way. Everyone wanted to get with Casey.
Oh yeah, everyone wanted Casey. Which I will say this: when that part happened, when Drew Barrymore died, it made a lot of people surprised because a lot of people during the time, Drew Barrymore was a big star and like she was the main character for a lot of movies. So seeing her die immediately at the beginning was shocking to people, which was I think her idea.
Well, it was just as shocking as like seeing Samara Weaving die in something
You're still
else
not
that
over
we'll
that,
talk
are you?
about later. I'm not. No, I probably feel like like all the men who were in their 30s in 1996 probably felt the same way about seeing Drew Barrymore that I feel about seeing Samara Weaving.
You still
So
you
I
go.
understand it.
He goes to therapy every day for this. He tells me every time he gets home from therapy.
Well, that's why I need this podcast to take off so I can afford my therapy bills.
Yeah. But yeah, so that happens. I think they all. I think this is where we see the group of friends, right? They're all like hanging out and they're talking about how Casey
On
died.
the water fountain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is also another little fun fact. They did that in reference to Friends, I think, because in Friends opening, they're all in a water fountain just dancing. So I think that's it. I don't know because it has Courtney Cox in it, which she was in Friends for a while. There's a lot of little Easter eggs in this movie that you kind of I don't notice, but I'm reading on IMDb and they're like, oh, that's interesting.
Well, speaking of The Exorcist, like you said about the girl from The Exorcist.
Oh yeah, the girl who played the possessed child is in this movie. She has she's in the background in this shot. She's the one wearing I think the orange blazer. She's like a reporter.
Yeah. Right around the where we're talking about, because it's like
Yeah,
right after they're talking at the fountain and the camera pans.
yeah. You see all the reporters and you see one in an orange blazer because that's her. I don't remember her name. I read that that was her on IMDb, but I can't find that anymore on here. Like I remember seeing it before we watched it. And I was like, oh, cool.
I can't imagine anyone would like know her name though. Because like a child actor who never really went on to do anything, for someone to know her name would be a little weird.
Yeah,
Like I don't, unless she went on to do other things, but I don't think she did.
I don't really know if she did.
Kind of like the actor who played Andy Barclay in Child's Play, like
I mean,
acted as a kid and then disappeared forever and then never acted again.
he did it. come back. And,
Well, it's the
yeah,
later Child's Play movies, but
yeah,
yeah, like nobody knows the name of that actor because he's just like he was never in anything besides being a kid in one movie.
yeah. But yeah, they're talking about how she died. They're making jokes about like that. Let me go to my thing that I read real quick here. But yeah, they do talk about the murder and stuff like that. Then they're talking about horror movies. And then they made a joke being like, "You think they caught a liver? They left a liver in the mailbox." Randy says that.
Classic Randy.
Yeah. And then Stu's like, "Leave liver alone." And then he gets hit by Chenning's, his girlfriend. He's like, "What is a joke? It's liver." And then I believe that after that, we go to Sydney's house. Since her dad is gone, she was gonna sleep over at Tatum's house.
Dewey.
Oh yeah, Dewey shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking I couldn't remember the girl's name, so I just said Dewey's house because they're brother and sister.
That's Tatum.
Channing Tatum.
That's what I was trying not to say. Was Channing Tatum? That's the actor's name. And I'm like, it's not Channing Tatum.
It could have been.
It could have been, maybe. If he was a child. I don't even know how old Channing Tatum is.
Channing, well, a very handsome man. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, he's a very handsome man.
Yeah, he was in that Magic Mike, right?
Yeah, he was a Magic Mike.
Nah, I can't believe you knew that.
I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Who doesn't know that? You see that poster everywhere. I never seen the movie, but I know he's in it.
I watch it all the time.
But yeah, we do cut to Sydney's house, and she's kind of talking to Tatum. She's just like, "Oh, hey, packing my stuff, and I'll be there." And she's like, "Oh, I'll be there past 7." And then Sydney falls asleep, wakes up at night. It's like 10 or 9. Calls Tatum. Tatum's like, "Yeah, sorry, Billy and..." I think she says Billy and Randy were over too long watching movies, and they just left. So they left. So she's like, "Oh, I'll pick you up soon." And then she hangs up, and then Sydney gets called by Ghostface.
And she thinks it's Randy.
Yeah, she thinks it's Randy. And she thinks it's a whole joke, and she makes like a joke about like... Funny thing is where she's like, "Well, I don't remember what the line... Well, the line was... Well, the movie's always... So Trace starts all the time with a big-breasted lady who doesn't know how to run out the front door. Which, funny enough, when she tries to go out the front door, she can't go out there, so she has to go upstairs. Which is another line, probably like, "Well, she just runs up the stairs of going out the front door." And it's like, yeah, that happened to you, Sydney. So, which is kind of funny. And then the call gets weird.
Well, she keeps saying that it's Randy, and she says, "Oh, it's sexy what you're doing with your voice, Randy."
Yeah, which kind of shows that she might have a thing for Randy, maybe? I don't know. I know Randy does. Randy has a thing for Sydney.
I do.
Oh, yeah.
I have a thing for Randy. I mean, Sydney.
But we'll cut that out.
I mean, Dewey. I'm digging myself a deeper hole here.
Yeah, yes, you are. Are you going to stop digging it? No, you're not. But yeah.
Keep going.
But yeah, so after a while, the voice of the line says he's not Randy. She kind of freaks out. Then she's like, "Well, where are you?" He's like, "Well, where do you think I am?" And then I think she goes outside to prove that.
Yeah, she says, I'm gonna call your bluff," and she runs outside.
Yeah, because I think he says, "I'm outside," and she's like, "Well," he's like, "Well, go outside too," and she's outside, and she's like, "See?" And then she starts picking her nose, being like, "What am I doing now?" And she's like, "Yeah."
That's what I thought. I like that scene actually.
Yeah, but she kind of.
What am I doing? What am I doing?
Just pick your nose. And then what ends up happening is that the boy says he's not Randy, and then she freaks out, and then I think she still thinks it's kind of a prank. But then the voice mentions about her mom's death and taunting her about it, and she starts freaking out.
Mm.
And then
Yeah.
when she goes back inside and locks the door, Ghostface in the closet attacks her, and they stroll for a bit. She tries to get outside the front door, but it's locked by a little chain lock, so she can't get outside. So she has to
Well, she
run up.
locked it herself.
Yeah, she locked it herself, and then she had to run upstairs and call 911 through her computer.
Ah, the good old days.
Yeah, back where you just
I think
call.
you can still do that, right? You can still like Google 911. Like I think there's a way to contact 911 through your computer.
I think there probably is, to be honest. So that happens. Ghostface leaves, and then Billy climbs through the window to check if Sid's okay. And then while they're hugging and stuff, he drops a cell phone. And if you have a cell phone, that means you're a murderer. So she kind of freaks out a bit and runs away to the front door. And what ends up happening is that Dewey's at the front door with the Ghostface mask. Scare. He screams. And then Billy gets arrested. And then I think Gail's there. I know Gail is somewhat there. Well, at the police
Everywhere.
station. Well, I think with the police at the house. I don't know if she's there or maybe just at the police station. But yeah, she's everywhere. Gail is. She's everywhere.
Bobbing everywhere, man. Sydney's house and over there, man.
Right. But oh yeah, so that happens, and then we come back to the police station where we had Billy talk with his dad, talking to a police officer, being like, "Well, it can't be Billy." Blah, blah, blah. And Billy's like, "Yeah, it's not me." And then he looks at Sydney, and Sydney's just kind of like, still thinks it's him, which she would be right, to be honest.
Yeah, she's like in the next room and she's like avoiding eye contact with him.
Yeah. And then Tatum shows up to take her, and then that's when they go out the back door. And Dewey's like, "Oh, here." Well, Dewey's showing him out, and he's like, "Oh, here, I'll go with the car, stay right here." And that's when they get confronted with Gail Weathers and her cameraman, and she's like, "Hey, can we talk to you about the Ghostface attack you just had?" Blah blah. And then she makes a cop. Well, Sydney's like, "Yeah, we can do it." Yeah. And she's like, "Will you talk about her mom?" And then she gets like Gail gets punched in the face
Well deserved.
because backstory to that, Gail made a book about her mom, well, about Sydney's mom and how the murder happened, and it was like a big hit, I think.
What was it that she actually? Because like Sydney was walking away, and then Gail said something, and then Sydney turned around and punched her.
I'll give you a copy.
What was it? Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's what made her
man,
punch her.
yeah. She was staying calm for a while until she said that. Bad news.
What?
I found another bottle of wine.
Oh my god, the bathroom line.
I keep it hidden in the bathroom just in case for emergencies. No, it's actually the same. I think it's the same brand. I don't know. It says they both say Doc on it, DOC. I don't know if that means something to any wine enthusiasts out there, but this one's from Portugal, though.
Ooh, fancy. It's like
That.
you just found like how like the mom in Nightmare on Elm Street just pulls out a bottle of vodka from like anywhere. Oh, Nancy brought one, but there's 10 more in this house that are hidden that I know where they are.
I keep alcohol hidden all over the place.
Just in
So
case
if I'm
like,
sitting in the
someone breaks one, you're like, hey, you gotta reach into some place, you grab another one.
if I'm sitting in the bathroom and it's taking a little longer than I would have liked, I'm like, oh man. There we go. Now we're talking.
Hell yeah. Alright, back to the review. But yeah, so at this part, yeah, Sydney sleeps over at Tatum's. Tatum kind of like hypes Sydney up for punching that reporter. It's like she's so cool for doing that.
She was kind of badass.
Yeah, I mean, even doing it like an ice pack for her hand. Be like, here, take this for your hand.
Not to be confused with Scary Movie, where he chucks it across the room and it hits her in the face.
Yeah. Creepy tone. But yeah, so they're sitting there, and then Tatum's mom comes in, and she's like, Sydney, you got a call. And then she answers it, and it's Ghostface. Oh, I guess it's not Billy. Because Ghostface called her. So she's kind of second guessing herself now at this point. And then, well, not at this point. She's kind of like, well, oh my god. And then she goes to school the next day. She does talk to Gail, who's in her van next to the school. And then Gail kind of like talks to her about her mom's murder and says that she doesn't think it's Cotton, which, by the way, Cotton's the guy that Cindy's mom was sleeping with and was blamed for the murder. Gail says that I don't think it's Gail. I don't think it's Cotton. I don't think Cotton did it because he was out in his house, drunk, passed out. And they're like, well, how did the coat get into the car? Well, the coat was at my mom's place, but then was in his car. How do you explain that? I was like, well, maybe someone who left the house wore the coat.
Yeah.
And she's like, maybe you're not
Sydney
sure who
says,
murdered.
I saw Cotton leave the house in the coat. And she says, no, you saw someone leave the house in the coat.
Yeah, and then she's like, well, you don't know who the murderer is then, do you? And then she kind of had like a moment, and then Tatum steps in and be like, okay, we're going to go. And then they leave.
Yeah. She was about to get punched again.
Yeah. And then it leads back to the school where we see Stu, Tatum, and Sid in the hallway. And then some guy runs down the hallway wearing a Ghostface outfit. Because to them, murder is funny.
Yeah, that's high school. Everything's funny.
Yeah, I mean, that is high school, yeah.
You don't realize how much the world sucks yet.
Right? And then Sydney goes down the hallway. I don't remember if the bathroom scene was before this or after she runs into Billy.
It's after.
It's after.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we cut to a scene where she goes to the bathroom, and then there's two girls in there talking shit about Sydney. Being like, oh, maybe Sydney's the murderer, because the fact that, you know, almost a year from her mom's murder, and maybe she just snapped and killed people, blah, blah.
Oh, she describes the plot of Dexter.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah, you made that comment, being like, oh, that's just Dexter. And then, yeah, while she's in there, there's someone else in the bathroom with her after the cheerleaders leave. Or one's a cheerleader, the other one's, I think, just a normal girl that's a friend. And then someone else in there with her, and it's someone dressed as Ghostface. He attacks her, and then she runs out, and then I think she runs into Billy. And Billy's like, oh, hey, Sid, how you doing? And then, you know, tries to talk to her, being like, oh, I'm not the murderer, blah, blah, and then tries to talk to her.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It was that bathroom scene first, and then Billy.
Yeah. And then he's like, well, I'm not the murderer, Sydney. And then he tries to convince her to, like, get over your mom's death, even though it's been almost a year.
Yeah, that didn't go well.
No, she.
Well, my mom and my dad split, and I got over it.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, your parents are alive.
Your mom left town. My mom died.
Yeah, that's what she said. And then she like storms off. She's like, if you, I don't remember which the line is, but she's like, well, if you can't handle me when, or don't respect my trauma, then you're out of luck. And then she walks away, and he's like, Sid, and then he calls himself stupid because, you know, the way he tried to talk about this situation was stupid. Then I think,
What was the? Trying to remember the actual line because she says the same line in Scary Movie when she storms off.
oh yeah, but in Scary Movie it's like a more and she just runs out playing her arms. Yeah, and then what happens next is I think we're at the videos. No, it's outside because they're closing school. Actually, no, it's a scene with the principal with the two guys with the Ghostface masks.
Yeah.
And then he's like being very threatening towards them with like a scissors, being like, "You think this is funny? 2 people have died." and you think this is funny, and he's like, I'm gonna expel you, and they're like, no, that's not fair. That's not blah, blah, blah. And then he like, as he opens the door, he
yeah,
closes
no,
it.
yeah, fair would be me gutting you and hanging you up to show how heartless you really are.
Yeah, this whole part right here is just for like making him seem like a suspect. I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that happens, and then he like tells him to get out of his office, and then it cuts to outside where he made an announcement saying school is out because of the murders, and there's also a curfew now. So, but all the kids are happy because there's no school now. They're like, yeah, no school, fuck school, yeah. And then
Goes out for summer.
oh yeah, that song plays.
Song always plays.
Yeah, and then Stu's talking to Sid and Tatum, being like, "Hey, I'm having a party at my house when school's canceled. You guys would show up?" And they're like, "Yeah, we'll show up." And then I think they talk about this is the scene where it cuts to the principal in the office, and then he gets murdered, or is it them in
Maybe.
the convenience store?
It's them in the video store, right?
Oh yeah, the video store happens. Yeah,
It's Stu and
Stu and Randy are talking, and
Randy.
Randy thinks Billy's the murderer, and Stu's like, "Well, why do you think that?" And he's like, "Well, his motives, blah blah, blah. You know, like his mom left."
Well, then, yeah. The second he accuses Billy, he turns around and Billy's standing right there.
He's
What
like,
would be my motive?
I don't remember what he says. I think he says misogyny. I don't remember. But yeah, so also he says
Right.
a lot of iconic lines here too, like Randy does, being like, "If we're in a horror film, you know, murder, no one knows, everybody's a suspect." Pretty much, he says a very iconic line there, which I can look up the line real quick because I have that up right now.
What is he says this is this is the millennium. We don't need a motive.
Oh yeah, it's the millennium. We don't need a motive. That was the line.
And then he says everyone's a suspect. Which is true.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody's a suspect in these type of movies. But yeah, that happens. And then pretty much, yeah, you get a confrontation from Billy. And then he's like, well, it's not you, Billy. It could be me. It could really be anybody. And then after, like, Billy walks away, he talks to Stu, and he's like, see? It's probably him. And this Stu's like, oh, yeah, right.
I still think it's Randy.
You still think it's Randy?
Yeah, I think he set them up.
Oh, yeah, here's the line. It's a millennium. Motives are incidental. Here we go.
He's not wrong. He's kind of a genius when it comes to horror movies.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's the horror movie buff pretty much in the movie, which a lot of these movies do have that character, which are just horror movie, who's a horror movie buff. So, but yeah, we get to that point, and then go to a store. Sid and Tatum are talking, buying stuff. You see a flash of a ghost face there a little bit, but nothing really comes of that. They just you kind of just see ghost face for a second, and that's it. I don't think he attacks him in that store.
I didn't even know you could see him.
Yeah, he's like in a reflection. He's like in one of the aisles. He's wearing the outfit, so.
Because they're just waiting for Dewey, right? Because Dewey had to run into the police station.
Yeah, Dewey had to go in there. Because Dewey got some ice cream, and he's going to go talk to the sheriff, and the sheriff's smoking, and he's like, I thought you quit. And he's like, well, I did, but this is very stressful. This whole situation is.
No, I don't blame him. It's a lot on his plate.
Yeah, I mean,
And any good horror movie buff, he's the top suspect.
Oh, yeah. And then after that, I think is when we cut to the party. What's going on, I think. Because, yeah, we talk about the movie, which, by the way, we're going to take a segue here and talk about how, when we saw the movie Rental Place, me and Miller just talked about movie Rental Places for, like, a solid, like 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes. And how we kind of miss those type places.
I do.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so nostalgic. You just go in there and you see all the movies on the wall and movie posters, and you see they have like the movie theater candy by the register with like the popcorn. They have sodas there too.
Oh, now you're making me want to buy some dots and some Sour Patch Kids.
For me, it was Bunch of Crunch. That's what I always get.
Ooh, that's good too.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say if someone actually did, well, I think we did talk about this. How if someone would open like a movie rental store, it probably wouldn't do well. And then I think we double backed on that because I mentioned like, well, with the whole stuff with streaming and how prices are going up, I think more people might be more willing to go to like rental places than use those services at the moment.
Yeah, well, I think like one would do really well. It wouldn't be like it's not the kind of thing that like multiple people could open up a movie rental place in the same city and they compete. Like back in the old days, you had like Blockbuster and Movie Gallery, and I think there was one or two other ones that would like compete with each other. But nowadays, if you just had like one in a big city, I think it would do well enough to get by.
Oh yeah,
But you couldn't have multiple and compete with each other.
yeah, I think that would be best. It's like one, and then like it'll probably do well. But yeah, man,
And
see that movie rental place is a lot of nostalgia. A lot of just going up the aisles, looking at movies, stuff like that. Choosing the best movie from how cool the box cover is.
how scary it looked.
Yeah, how scary it looked. Which, to be honest, to this day, I remember the first time I saw a scary movie in a movie rental place. It was, it was Jack Frost. It was the horror one, not the one with, not the, not the family one, but the horror one that was really bad.
That's a
Because
creepy face.
yeah, because it was like one of those hologram. Well, a hologram. One of those things where you like tilt it and the image changes, and it was like normal snowman one, creepy face in the other. And it was always the creepy face, and it creeped me out. So, God. And then another
I don't
one where
remember what the. Hmm?
there was another one where like I wouldn't even look at it. I wouldn't even walk past it because I was just so scared of it. I think it was the House of a Thousand Corpses.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of any scary ones that I remember. The main movie I remember seeing, like the one that stands out to me, the video cover that stands out to me would probably be Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
The Phantom Menace. I think the Phantom Menace, right?
Yeah.
It would be episode one. I remember that being very prominent in the movie. Like it must have just been around. It was what 2001, 2002, somewhere around there. When I remember most going to the movie gallery
I remember I got a
or
bunch of
Blockbuster.
movie posters from a movie rental place because they were gonna go out of business because of streaming. So when I went there to rent movies, they're like, "Yeah, if you want any posters, so go ahead and take them." I'm like, "Oh, cool." So I took like a couple. And I think I still have them too.
I want to buy a bunch of movie posters and artist posters and hang them up
I think
or
so.
frame them and
Here's a
then.
question: what was your most rented movie?
I don't know if there was one that I can think of off the top of my head that I rented multiple times.
For me, if I'm remembering correctly, I think it had to be Crank with Jason Statham.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I remember my buddy Derek and I would go and like every weekend almost, and we would go and rent movies. But we would never rent the same movie more than once. We would usually just go and find like we would go and try and find cheesy horror movies. And it's where I first got into like Hatchet and a lot of other lesser known horror movies because we'd go into the horror section and we would just find like two or three horror movies that just looked really bad, and then we'd bring them home and watch them.
Did the movie rental place you go to have that bead curtain in the back that says 18 plus?
I'm trying to remember because I was watching Ted the other day, and I think it was the series. You know Ted, right?
Yeah,
The movie.
yeah.
Then they had the TV series or the series that came out recently, and they were trying to get into that section. And I was just thinking about that the other day, and I was like, I can't remember if they had the adults only.
Yeah, back where they had all the adult movies. My place, the place that I go to, like or used to go to, like never had that. Like there was that was not there. And I know Blockbuster never did that. So I think
Yeah, I can't remember if they just didn't have it or if I just had no interest in it back then. Because I
yeah,
mean, I'm a kid. I didn't have any. I wasn't thinking about like
what's beyond the
adult
beaded
stuff.
door?
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about that until I was, probably like much later in life. I was probably 16, 17 before I was ever thinking. I was just thinking about hanging out with my buddy and chewing tobacco and watching scary movies and playing video games until I was like 15, 16, 17.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I always thought that was like a myth. Like I didn't believe that was a thing, but I think it is actually a thing in some places. But I don't know
Well,
if you guys
you know what that means? We
what
got to drive out to Oregon.
uh, that Blockbuster never had that section. I don't know. I don't know where you're getting your information, but Blockbuster never had a adult only section.
Or did we just block it out of our memory because we never had any interest in
Oh my god, you might be right.
it?
But yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly can't remember if there was one. I'll have to talk to my brother or my parents or something, my mom or something.
yeah. I mean, you always. I think that's always in movies, right? Where people go to like a movie rental place, and then there's that 18 plus section always. Like
I'm
there's
gonna
a lot of movies with like a movie rental place in it. They're just like, yeah, here's a section that's 18 plus. You can't go in there though.
I'm gonna call my mom tomorrow and I'm gonna ask her if because it was a movie gallery in Wisconsin. I don't know if you're familiar with movie gallery,
I kind of yeah.
but that's what we had in our small town, and because we didn't have a Blockbuster anywhere nearby. But I'll have to ask her. Movie gallery might actually still be there now that I think about it.
I mean, it's like a family owned thing, probably.
Yeah, might still exist.
Anyway, break away from the segue. I just wanted to talk about that because I mean, movie rental places are just so much of the past, and like people nowadays will never relive the hype of your parents saying like we're gonna go to Blockbuster, and you'd be like, oh yeah,
Oh, I loved it.
yeah. Nowadays it's like, well, what's on Netflix? What's on Amazon Prime? And it's just like a we're old.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah,
I just searched movie gallery on Google, and the top result was Reddit r/nostalgia movie gallery because your hometown was too small for a Blockbuster. Yeah.
yeah. We didn't have a Blockbuster in town. The Blockbuster for us was like a lot, like I think a 30-minute drive. But the one we had in town, it had like two names. It was first it was like I think Mega Movie, and then second one was like Movie Cinema. I think I don't remember the second name, but or Mr. Movies. Yeah, it was Mr. Movies.
Well, there were a lot of different um, places. There's a movie gallery, Hollywood Video, Blockbuster, Movies and More.
And then we there was the third one we had too. But the thing is, this was like part movie rental place, part tanning salon. It was like one of those things.
Family Video, Hollywood Video. Sam Goody. That's something I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are old. Fuck. Circuit City. What the heck is that?
I'm gonna go to Radio Shack. My batteries that I need for my controller.
I always wanted to buy that remote control car, but my mom would never let me buy it. And by the time I was old enough to buy it on my own, Radio Shack didn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Fuck. Life sucks.
Uh, but yeah, so like I said, I just love the movie play. Like as a kid, I always wanted to work at that too, like at a movie rental place, and just kind of be the one guy who's like, yeah, I'm a movie buff. Only horror movies though.
Come to think of it, my brother actually did. I almost forgot about that when he was so this must have been 2012. He was no. No, 2010, somewhere around there. No, I don't remember. It was he was recruiting for the army. He was living up in Green Bay and he actually got a part-time job. Like he was in the army full time and then he was also working part-time at a movie rental place. So they still had him all the way up until 2011,
Yeah, I go.
2012.
Didn't Blockbuster go out of business in 2012?
I don't remember.
Nah, I don't remember either.
I'll have to ask him what it was, if it was something
I'm surprised
big
that
or something.
Redbox is still a thing though.
I thought Redbox just kind of merged into Netflix, honestly.
Apparently not. There's still some Redbox kiosks in places, and I'm just like, wow, who uses these? Like, I guess
Did
people.
Netflix start off as a kiosk?
No, Netflix started out as like a mail thing where they mail you the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because yeah, Netflix was one of those services where like you pick a movie you want to see on the website, and then they'll mail it to you, and then you watch it, and then you got like a set amount of time before you have to mail it back, or else you get charged extra. Which I don't think they do that anymore. Even I don't think Netflix does that. I think it's all just all streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they probably lost a lot of money. Well, no, I don't know. I don't know if they would have lost money because they way overcharged for it. I remember I paid like $60 for a movie one time because I forgot to return it. That was
Wow.
through Redbox, I think, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they ended up charging me per day
Yeah.
because I forgot about it.
Yeah, because I think with Netflix, it was just like a set amount of days, and then after you go past those days, that's when they start charging you extra for it.
Yeah, but then at a certain point, you just own it and they stop charging you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that's how. Well, that's how it was with Redbox. Like after so many, I think it was after a month. They charge you per day for an entire month after the time you're supposed to return it, and then after that month, it was like $1 a day or $2 a day. And then after a month, they just stop charging you because you own it at that point.
Yeah.
It's like
It's like, well, you're
it's
not
the most
returning it.
expensive. It's the most expensive way to buy movies.
Yeah. It's like I own this copy of Salem's Lot. And like, well, how much the country? $50.
$60. I also own a copy of it's somewhere. I mean, I can't say I own it because I have no idea where it is now. But it was Wolfenstein, one of the Wolfenstein games because I rented it from a Redbox
Oh,
and I
then you.
forgot to return it.
Ah.
Last time I remember seeing it was on top of my refrigerator like 4 or 5 houses ago. I remember I was cleaning because I think I was packing to move, and I there was a bunch of stuff on top of the fridge, and I reached up and I grabbed it, and there was a copy of Wolfenstein from Redbox, and I was like, "Oh, whoops." It's probably been sitting here in my house for 3 months. I guess I own it now.
You know, with Blockbuster, they'll break your kneecaps.
Yeah. Oh, I never messed around with those, like the in-person video stores. Do you know there was a story about a woman who like she was an adult and she applied for a job and she got denied the job and then she got and she didn't know why she got denied and then she got pulled over and the cop said that she had a warrant and she was like, I don't what is going why do I have a warrant for my arrest, like, and it turned out that she had from like 20 years ago she had a movie that she never returned and it ended up becoming like through the movie rental place, it was a small family owned place. And they ended up making it a felony.
Oh, wow.
So she got denied for the job because they did a background check and saw that she had a felony, and then she had a warrant for her arrest, all because she forgot to return a movie to a family-owned movie rental place.
Oh wow. I mean, that's how it happens again with that. I mean, also with the late fees.
I think she I think she ended up just getting a hold of the movie rental place, and they were like, "Oh no, forget it." Yeah, that was they didn't mess around.
Yeah, they don't mess around. They don't, unless you're a member of the Blockbuster membership card. Which I think that's just like a thing where it's like, oh, if you rent like 12 movies, your next one's free or something,
Yeah.
and maybe you get like a free popcorn. Anyway, back to the movie, I guess.
No, I'm just nostalgic.
It's nostalgia for
Oh yeah. So they're where are we? They're at the party.
yeah, they're at the party now, and then Dewey's there with Gail, and then Gail's like, I'm gonna put a camera in there to watch them. So she goes in there with Dewey, and then Tatum's like, well, what the fuck, Dewey? Why'd you bring Gail here? And Dewey's like, well, she's with me. Hanging out with Gail Weathers, and then also everybody at the party's freaking out too because it's Gail Weathers. She's famous on the news channel because she has news.
And because there's a cop there in uniform.
Yeah, he doesn't play a joke being like, "Give me that beer." He's like, "No, I'm just kidding. Here, just drive. Don't drive." Which I'm like, if your cop friends let you did that, you're probably gonna get in big trouble. Be like, yeah, I went to a party. It's like, oh yeah, what's kind of party? Well, it's underage drinking party. It's like, and you didn't stop it. It's like, no. Why would I? They're having a good time.
I'm not gonna ruin my reputation and become the dickhead that nobody likes.
Right? But yeah, so they're there. Gail puts her camera there, and then they leave. I think Dude goes back to his car because he's sitting outside watching the party. And then Gail goes back, and her cameraman's there, and they realize the footage is like 30 seconds behind. So, which that'll come into play later. And then Sydney's there, and I think she runs into Billy. And they're like, oh, let's go talk upstairs. And Stu's like, yeah, use my parents' room. And then they go upstairs. Randy doesn't like that they're alone. And Randy's like, I'm going to go check on him. And he just does not check on him.
Yeah, he just gets drunk and watches Halloween.
Yeah.
So I don't blame him. Those are my priorities when I was his age.
Let's get drunk and just watch Halloween. But yeah, so it cuts to Sydney and Billy. They're talking. I think at this point, Sydney's like, well, I don't think you're the murderer. Blah, blah, blah. And then she says, like, you know what movie I'd rather be in? I'd rather be in, like, a raunchy porno. And Billy's like, oh? And then they start kind of making out.
Then they end up having sex.
Yeah.
Yeah. Surprisingly.
Surprisingly, yes. But yeah, also during this part, I think this is also during the part where, like, Randy gives the rules of horror movies. So if you're in a horror movie, you gotta follow these rules to survive. Where it's like, rule number 1, it's like no sex or something.
Yeah, and all the party goers are all booing him.
Yeah, like boo boo. And he's like, rule number 2, no drugs or alcohol. And they all like raise their beers up, like yeah.
Yeah.
And then rule number 3, never say you'll be right back, so you're not gonna be right back.
And then that's when Stu says, I'll be right back.
Oh, and they're like, oh.
And he walks out.
Yeah. Also, Tatum dies.
Rest in peace, garage door girl.
Yes, she leaves the party to go grab more beer. She does. Doors locked. She tries to get the garage door to work. Doesn't work. And then Ghostface is there. And then she's like thinking it's Stu. I think. I don't know what she thinks she is.
She thinks it's one of her friends fucking with her.
And she's like, "Oh, don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel." And then like he like grabs her and cuts her arm, and then she realizes, "Oh fuck, this is real." Scary.
And then she does a very good job, like defending herself from him.
Yeah, like uses the freezer door to bash his head in, and then like start throwing the still intact beer balls at him.
Yeah, she's like she puts up probably the best fight out of anyone else in the movie,
It's just she
and
decided
then she
goes through the
is
dog
done.
door, and she doesn't fit through the dog door. Even though personally, for me, it looks like she could fit, but for some reason she's stuck.
Yeah. Oh, she absolutely could have. I
Yeah.
think they just like she had to act like she couldn't fit through it
Well, there
for
was
the
a
sake
sound
of.
effect of a shirt tearing, so I imagine maybe her shirt got caught, but I don't know.
It's a good point, yeah.
Yeah.
But no,
That's
you could see from the way she was in there that like she had one arm in her head through, and she couldn't get this other arm through. But there was like a foot, like a
yeah.
square foot of room, and she was like, "Stuck, I'm stuck." It's like just pull your arm through. You got like a foot of room there.
Yeah. And that's when thankfully Stu's family invested in the best motor for a garage door opener.
Yeah,
is when
top of the line,
yeah, it goes
200 horsepower garage door right there.
yeah, because Ghostface pressed the garage door button and it starts going up, bringing Tatum with it, and then Tatum gets her head crushed by the garage and she's dead. And then Ghostface goes back into the party. So yeah, that happens.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer because she was like the well with her fighting back, like she was the most competent person in the whole movie, I think.
Yeah. Then I think after that is when Dewey goes talks to Gale because she's like, "Hey, I hear there's a car that's in a ditch somewhere up the road. You want to come join me?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure, Dewey." Which, by the way, there's another line we didn't say is that Dewey. It was when Gale and Dewey talked the first time, and she made a comment being like, people who are between the ages of 20 to 24 are more likely to have a crush on me. And he's like, "Well, I'm 25."
I was 24 for a whole year.
Yeah, that was the line. Which, to be honest, like their relationship throughout the whole series is like pretty cute, even though it does kind of have its twists and turns.
You remember Scary Movie?
Yeah, the,
He's like mentally challenged, and she takes him to the back of the van.
yeah,
Oh, jeez, I can't get enough of that movie. I gotta rewatch it now.
yeah. We're gonna do a April Fool review on it, I guess. So they had to tune in for that April 1st. But yeah, so they're walking down the street talking about stuff. I don't remember what they're talking about. I think they're talking, but they're like really into each other. You can kind of tell how they're talking. And then cut back to the party where the partygoers learn that the principal is dead and his body's hanging up in the football yard on the goalpost. And they're like, "Yeah, we gotta go see it before the police get there." And they like leave and speed off in their cars.
And they leave poor Randy behind.
Yeah, it leaves Randy behind. Although Randy's the one who answers the phone call, and then Randy tells them like, "Oh, the principal's dead." So they speed off, and then I think we cut back to at some point Dewey and Gale, and the cars are speeding at them, and they're like, "Let's go! They're going too fast!" And they both tumble into the ditch. They end up laying on top of each other, and then I think they kiss. They kiss, and then I think Gale is like, "Oh, what's that over there?" And they found the car, and it's Sydney's dad's car that's just there in the ditch. And Dewey's like, "Oh, we gotta get back to the house," and they start going back to the house. And then we cut to the
Sorry, we got a guest.
what? Oh yeah, yeah, a little dog right there.
He liked the movie. He wanted to come and give his 2 cents. All right, go away. Go away. You can't even talk. It just gave me a look like he was offended.
Wow.
Wow, you're gonna stoop that low, huh? All right, I'm gonna go piss on your bed.
Uh,
Yeah.
you just learn your dog to talk after that day. It's like, yeah, so you can talk now. He's like, what? He's like, yeah, you can talk.
I'm glad my dogs can't talk because I don't want to know what they'd say.
Yeah.
They're weird. All right, sorry.
Oh, you're
So
fine.
they found Sydney's dad's car.
Yeah, if I was Cindy dad's car and they were going back to the house and then come back to I think Billy and like Sid getting dressed because they just did it. And then Sydney kind of presses Billy, being like, "Well, who'd you call at the police station?" He's like, "Well, I called my dad." She's like, "But the police called your dad." He's like, "Well, I called him first and he didn't answer." And then she's kind of like questioning it a bit, and he's like, "What do I have to do to prove to
Yeah.
you that I'm not the killer?" And then the Ghostface is behind him, and then stabs, air quotes, stabs Billy. And we think Billy's dead, and then Sydney gets chased by Ghostface for a little bit. She ends up leaving through. Well, she locks herself inside the attic, and then she escapes through the window, falls onto the boat that's conveniently placed there.
Yeah, she got real lucky because if she had landed anywhere else in that boat, she probably would have hurt herself.
Yeah. So yeah, she gets outside, and then she runs to the news vans out there with the cameraman. Cameraman sees what happens in the scene that we're gonna explain now because we kind of skipped it. It's a scene where Randy's talking to Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Lori, being like, "Oh, behind you, Jamie, behind you." Which, fun fact, Randy's actual actor name, well, the actor who played Randy, his first name's Jamie. So this whole time he's like, "Jamie, behind you, look behind you, Jamie." It's kind of like him telling the actor to look behind him. I think that was kind of cool. But yeah, as he's watching the movie and saying that, Ghostface is like behind Randy, he's about to stab him. And then I think the Ghostface hears Sydney yelling, screaming outside, so he turns to look. And then we see the cameraman watching that happen, but it's a 30-second delay, so he doesn't know yet that they're gone. So cameraman leaves van, see front door open, then gets killed by Ghostface, and then he's kind of gets his neck slit. And then cameraman's dead. Before he dies, though, he lets Sydney know that there's a little opening in the back that she can crawl through.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he like looks back there and he says something like, "Crawl back there," and then he dies. So she
I
goes.
knew she used the crawl space. I didn't know he told her about it.
Yeah. So she crawls through the runs down the street. So she's like running down the street. And then Dewey and Gail get there. And then Dewey's like, "I'll go in and check the house. You go check on the van. Or stay there." I guess he tells her to stay there, but he goes to check. And to be honest, this scene where he's looking at the house, I thought they did a good job with the sound effects. Because when stuff happens, it goes with the sound of like the Halloween movie that's playing, which I thought was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They did a very cool job with like even when Dewey's going through the house, and then also later on when like they do it again too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the part where Billy's looking for Sid and the sounds of like coat hangers are going on. He thinks she's in the closet, but nope, it's just the movie. But yeah,
They did a very good job with the audio and visuals of this whole scene, or
Oh,
this
yeah.
whole party house scene.
yeah, this movie also took like a whole month to record, or that scene, I guess, so known as Scene 188, took like a whole month to record, apparently, which that's crazy. That's actually really crazy to be honest. That took a whole month. Like Jesus.
It always blew my mind why movies take so long to film. Like I understand why the effects and doing stuff, post like editing and post would take a long time, but the filming itself, I always watch a movie and I'm like, why couldn't they have just filmed this in like an afternoon? But I
Yeah,
guess they take like 100 takes for each scene, and
yeah. I think it takes like probably a year and a half to like maybe even 2 years to make a movie, depending on how big it is.
yeah, it's wild to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's why with The Shining, a lot of people like in The Shining, where the one guy cries. Like a lot of people were like, "Oh, you can cry." Command's like, "No, he's crying because he had to do so many takes of scenes." Like the scene with the kid with the ice cream. There's a scene where there's a guy and the kid, and they're eating ice cream, and they did that scene so many times the kid didn't want ice cream anymore. Yeah.
I've heard some crazy theories about The Shining that
There's a
I
lot
want
of
to
theories.
pick your
Yeah.
brain about. Stuff to do with the moon landing.
I think we talked about that before.
Did we?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time I actually started questioning whether the moon landing was real or not.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, what the fuck? That's for another time, I guess.
Yeah, it's for another time. But yeah, so Dewey checks the house, nothing in there. Gail goes to the van, realizes her cameraman's not there, but finds a puddle of blood in front of the door, thinking that he's probably dead. She crawls in, goes for cellular phone that she has, and calls 911. That's when Randy kind of pops up in the window, be like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she like beats Randy up with the phone.
That poor guy just
Yeah.
gets shit on the entire movie. It's-
And then as she tries to get away, there's blood on her windshield. She wipes it off, and then as she drives away, dead cameraman's body at the top of the van. And then as she's trying to drive away, she's trying to get the body off the van, so she's kind of trying to do like a curve to like fling the body off the van. And then she's like, "I'm sorry, but get your fat ass off the fat window."
then it doesn't help that Cindy's. I just called her Cindy. Sydney is standing in the middle of the road going, stop, stop, stop.
Yeah, she like curved. She like does a quick turn and then goes off road and then crashes. And then yeah, that's what we heard for a little bit. And then Cindy comes back to the house, and then Dewey walks out, or kind of stumbles out, and she's like, "Oh, Dewey," and then Dewey kind of falls, and there's a knife in his back. And that's when the ghost face pops
Rest in
out.
peace, Doofy.
Yeah, rest in peace. But yeah, then she runs to the police car because it's unlocked. She goes, tries to find the keys, they're not in there. Ghostface has the keys, and he plays a little game with her by unlocking the doors as she's locking them. And then in the background, we realize that the back door is opening up. But she gets a call out on the radio.
I
from the
love that
police.
visual.
Yeah, we're just on the radio,
Yeah,
but you
she's
see
talking
the
on the
back
radio,
opening
and
slowly.
you could. That's one of my favorite things in horror movies is when something happens in the background that's not obvious.
Right. And you're like, "No, behind
My
you."
Halloween does that all the time.
Oh,
Like in like 90% of scenes in the Halloween movies, you can see Michael Myers standing in the background.
yeah. Yeah.
Same with Signs. There's a scene in Signs where you can see a silhouette of someone standing on the roof.
I also know in Long Legs, if you pay attention, you can see the devil in the background a couple times.
I caught one of those times.
It's like
But I
multiple
didn't
scenes,
see.
but he's really hidden.
I love when movies do that,
Oh,
where
yeah.
something happens in the background. I mean, this one was kind of obvious, but
Yeah, it was a little obvious,
cool.
but it's still really cool, yeah. But yeah, I watched her. She tried to call on radio for help. Ghostface attacks her. She defends herself, gets out of the car, and I think she runs towards the door, picks up Dewey's gun, and then she is confronted with Randy and Stu. They're both kind of yelling at Sid, being like, "No, he's the killer, let him out." And he's like, "No, he's the killer." Blah, blah, blah. And then Sidney does the smartest thing, I think, and says, "Fuck you both," and shuts the door. Which is very smart.
Then she does the dumbest thing and gives the gun to Billy.
Yes, because Billy comes tumbling down the stairs, being like, "Oh, I'm still alive, Sid," and you know he's about to open the door, and then he's like,
I can't even manage to walk myself down the stairs. Give me the gun.
Yeah, it's like I can barely walk, but give me the gun though. So yeah, he gets the gun, and then he opens the door, and Randy runs in, and he's like, "No, it's Stu. Stu's the killer. You know, he's crazy." And then Billy says a line from Psycho, being like, "We all go a bit crazy sometimes," and then shoots Randy in the shoulder. And then this point is revealed that, oh, Billy's the murder Ghostface, and so is Stu. Which I think this part's probably, I would say for anyone current who watched Scream loves Matthew Litt's like acting in this scene though, because it's like everywhere. It's very crazy. He's spitting a lot. There's a lot of spit.
Yeah. Well, the most infamous line to me, anyways, is when he's well, it's I guess it's a little bit later on after he gets stabbed a couple times. He goes, "I'm feeling a little woozy here."
Yeah.
I say that all the time. Like I quote that more than almost anything else.
I think he has a lot of
Whenever
quotable
I like,
lines in this movie. Like, there's that one. There's also
yeah.
like, "You threw a phone at me, you dick."
Yeah, I don't know how many times I quote that woozy line though. Like I remember one time I actually got hurt at work. Like I don't remember what I did, but I hurt myself at work and I was bleeding pretty bad. And I'm laying there and my buddy's like, "Hey, I went ahead and let them know that you hurt yourself. I mean, do you want to go to the hospital?" And I looked up at him and I went, "I'm feeling a little woozy here." He's like, "Shut up, dude."
And then another line where it's, I guess, Stu talking to Sydney on the phone. He's like, "Sid, did you actually call my mom and dad or by the police?" And she's like, "Yes, Stu, I did." So he was like, "Oh, my mom and dad are going to be so mad at me."
What does he say the first time that he's talking to her before
Oh, it's
Billy
like,
takes the phone back?
"So what's your alibi, Stu?" And he's like, "Peer pressure. I'm sensitive." Yeah.
So Billy told us what his
Yeah, so Billy,
reason is. What's
yeah,
yours?
Billy tells Sydney that his reason why he's killing people and why he killed Sid's mom, which him and Stu killed Sid's mom, was because of the fact that Sid's mom slept with Billy's dad, and that was the reason why Billy's mom left because of that. So he kind of blames her mom for that. So he killed her, which gets retconned in the third one, which I didn't like, but you know whatever I guess. Um, did you know about that?
No, I'm trying to. Well, I don't even remember much from the third and fourth
All
and
right,
second one.
spoiler for the third one. So the third one's the other one with that one ghost face. So he's only one guy, and he said in the movie that he was the one who gave Billy and Stu the idea to do it.
It's gonna be really interesting. Like this one, I remember very well, mainly because it's a scary movie. Um, but like the second, third, and fourth one, I don't remember all that well. I remember one of them was like they were filming Stab,
Yeah, that's the third one.
and then the killer. Okay, and then the killer was killing them in the same order that they were gonna die in the Stab movie.
Yeah, that was the one. I think with the weird voice box thing where it was like a thing that copied their voices.
The most memorable thing from that one, I think it's the third one, is when they're reading the note and he says, "Survival will come to those who," and they can't make out the last bit of it, and then they finally do, and it says, "Smells the gas,"
Oh yeah, that was the stupidest kill
and
in
then
that movie.
yeah, because it says the one will survive who smells the gas, and they all look at each other and they're like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, he blows up. But yeah, so that's
That's like all I remember from it.
it's not really like Scream 3. I don't think it's that good, but yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to it. But yeah, so Billy reveals that he killed all these people, and he's gonna blame it on Sid's dad because Sid's dad's there, and they're like, "Well, we're gonna blame it on him, and we're gonna be the only survivors of the whole mental snap that he had." And then yeah, they do end up stabbing each other to make it more realistic. Billy goes a little bit too ham on Stu, and then Stu ends up coughing up blood at one point, being like, "I think I'm dying, man. I think you stabbed too deep."
I love Stu.
Yeah. And then as they're talking, as they're talking to Sid, Billy talks to Stu, being like, "Oh, where's the gun?" And then the gun's gone, and Stu's like, "It was right here, man. I had it right here." Which we forgot the one iconic line too, being like, "She ain't no Sharon Stone." There's that line too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's face it, Sid. Your mom ain't no Sharon Stone. But yeah, so the gun's gone. Gail has it. She woke up from the car crash. And they were like, I thought you said she was dead. And he's like, oh, she what? She looked dead. She still does. And then she starts talking about how, like, book idea. Gail Weathers, reporter, stops two criminals and blah, blah, blah. I don't remember what he says, but then Billy starts walking up to her and being like, I think you forgot. Does he say he forgot something? I don't remember what he says. I know when he gets the government, he's like, it's easier when the safety's off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I know something you don't know.
Yeah, he like walks up to her, grabs the gun, kicks her away, and she goes unconscious on top of Dewey. And then he's like, it's easier with the safety off, because they put the safety on. And then as he's about to kill Dewey and Gale, or at least Gale, Stu looks back and sees Sydney's gone. They're all freaking out. Sydney calls him with the voice changer. Be like, I want to play a little game. And then tells him that she called the cops already. And then Billy goes, looks for her. Stu's kind of just sitting in the kitchen, kind of bleeding out. And then Cindy attacks Billy in the closet while wearing the full Ghostface outfit. Which I don't know why she had to dress as Ghostface to do that. I guess she just was like, I'll just win this and attack him real quick. Which, by the way, she stabs Skeeter Ulrich, that's his actor's name, with the umbrella. And I had learned this, and I was like, oh, God, that's horrible. Where the first stab she has the umbrella was through, like, a protective thing, so he wasn't hurt. But the second stab was not. She, actually stabbed him with the umbrella. So that's screamy here.
That made you rewind it so I could hear it.
Yeah, and it was a real scream. And, yeah, so that had to be painful. And also probably had to stop shooting for a bit, because he's probably like, she actually stabbed me. But yeah, so that happens, and then I think Stu attacks her, and then Stu kind of like rustling around with Sydney, and then he gets on top of her, and he just says a line like, I always had a thing for you, Sid, and then he's just choking her out. And then Sid bashes a vase over his head, and he's like, ooh, and then he falls under the TV, and then Sydney pushes the TV over his head, and is now incapacitated. I would say dead, but apparently in Scream 7, he's going to be back, so he's not dead, even though we confirmed he's been dead for multiple movies. He's still alive.
Rest in peace, Stu.
Yeah, rest in peace, Stu.
Sorry, I had to watch a clip on YouTube of him saying, I'm feeling woozy here.
Oh my god. And then I think Billy attacks her, and then as soon as Billy is about to like finish the job and stabbing her, he gets shot on the shoulder, and then he's down.
My old Gale.
By old Gale, who's like, oh, I didn't forget this time. And then they stand up. Randy gets up because he got shot in the shoulder, so he's fine. And he's like, this is the part of the movie where the killer makes one last jump scare. And then like Billy gets up, he's like, oh, and then gets shot in the head. And Sydney's like, not in my movie. Which that happens a lot in Scream, by the way, that ending, where they get the ghost face, and then like they think they got him, but then he's still alive. Like, I think it's my favorite part of that. It's like in Scream 3, where like the guy had a bulletproof vest on, and then they think they got him, and then he gets up screaming, running at him, and then I think Dewey's shooting him. He shoot him in the chest, and then I think Sydney's like, head, Dewey, shoot him in the head.
But that was one of the more recent ones, wasn't it?
3 was a long time ago.
Wasn't there? I don't want to spoil anything. You can cut this out if you want. But the one where Dewey dies.
Yeah, that one he broke a
Doesn't he
rule
shoot
where
him
he
in the
went.
chest?
Yeah, he shot him in the chest, and then he remembered head, so he had to go back and make sure that they were shooting him in the head. But that's when he got stabbed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he didn't go for a headshot.
Yeah. Okay, so he died trying to do the right thing. It's not that he didn't do the right thing. He died while trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed they killed him off.
Yeah, Dewey was a good character. Even though he kind of had a sad life in 5, though.
Oh, yeah. Didn't he become an alcoholic? Then he was living in a trailer?
Yeah, because of the fact that him and Gail broke up.
Yeah. Poor guy.
Yeah, which happens a lot during the Scream series, where like their relationship during the Scream franchise is so iffy because I think in 4 they live together and they just stuff like that and they're like together, and then in 5 they're just broken up because I think it was because of the fact that she wanted to go to New York because she's a reporter, but he didn't want to go because he's a Woodsboro type of guy. So
Yeah, well, she was really rich and well off in 5, wasn't she?
yeah,
5 and 6.
yeah, because she was a reporter again.
Yeah.
Because yeah, in 4 she was trying to get famous again by writing a book, but she couldn't, and was kind of jealous of Sydney, who wrote a book about her experience with Ghostface.
It'd be crazy not to.
Well, yeah,
If you go through an experience like that, someone's gonna get rich off of it. You might as well get rich off of it.
yeah, write a book's probably therapeutic too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would if I went through something like that, I would definitely write a book about it.
Yeah. But yeah, the movie ends with Sid's dad coming out of the closet because he's still tied up, and they free him. And then I think it ends with like the police showing up. Dewey's getting carted off to the hospital because he's still alive, and
Gives a thumbs up.
yeah, gives a thumbs up. Seems still alive. And then Gail gets to the report of her lifetime and does a report on the events that happened that night. And then it kind of just ends there.
So does she become famous in the second one?
I think, or maybe she's trying to get more famous. I don't remember. Her whole arc of her character is that she's just trying to get big. She's trying not to be the news reporter and wants to be someone who's like bigger than a news reporter. Like that's why she writes books, because she wants to get more fame.
Oh, that's the easiest way to become rich. I need to write a book.
Because yeah, I think she's still a news reporter in like the second one. The third one, I think she still is one. I know the third one, I think Dewey and her get back together. Because in the second one, they weren't. Because of the fact that when Dewey read her book, in the book, she referred to Dewey as an incompetent policeman that couldn't do anything right.
Oh, she's not wrong.
Yeah. Yeah?
Sorry, Dewey. Doofy.
Doofy. God, when you said the scene where it's like, when they find him in his room with the vacuum, he's like, you're not free. God. The best part of Scary Movie was the end where it was him all along, but he's not actually.
Come into my room when I'm vacuuming.
Yeah. And then the ending reveals that it's him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But he's not actually meant
He
to
gets
be
in the
challenged.
car in
He's
the
just-
convertible.
Yeah, he's smoking a cigarette, then he like kisses a lady and blows out the smoke, and you're like, yeah. Cool he is. But yeah, that's the end of Scream. Like I said, has our ratings changed at all? for the
Look at that
movie?
friggin' sunrise out there.
Oh, I see that. Wow.
Oh no, not at all.
No. Still a 10.
It looks kind of creepy out my window. It looks fake.
Kind of does, yeah.
Like it looks like a painting or like a poster.
It's not actually a window.
Kinda
It's
cool.
just a poster that has changes it during time or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, well, anyone watching this episode is going to see it going from pitch black to this throughout
Yeah, because we started recording at 5.
throughout the last couple hours.
Yeah, currently it's 7 right now. So,
And so you guys got to watch the sunrise with me.
yeah.
This is it's not a very good view of it though. There's just trees in the way, and this window faces south. So
It's still a good look, though.
it's an eerie, like picturesque. Like
I want to go take a picture of it.
that's cool.
Well, it is cool, yeah. Too bad they can't really see it, though.
That's actually a really cool view to like. I wonder if it was a little If I could get the lighting just right, like I could sit here and play. If I got the lighting just right, this angle I think would be really cool.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that's the end of
Sorry.
Scream. Oh, you're fine, dude. You're fine. But yeah, that's the end of Scream. Like we said, great movie. Like final thoughts, deserves all the praise it gets. I think it's a really good movie, and it's a lot of people's favorites. My favorite's still Evil Dead, but I mean, top 5, Scream's up there. So
Yeah, my favorite is still Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
eh,
but definitely up there, like you said. It's anyone who says Scream sucks is lying.
yeah, they're just trying to be.
That's like anyone who says the Rolling Stones sucks
Yeah,
is lying.
they're just trying to think that they're different, but they're not.
Yeah,
It's like I'm different. I like
it's
freaking other movies have Scream. It's like, yeah, sure, dude.
it's like some people may not like it, but it's not a bad movie. Like and that's how I feel about a lot of things. Like I got into an argument with someone one time because I was like, I don't really like Michael Jackson, and he's like, how can Michael Jackson's amazing? How can you think he's bad? And I'm like, I never said he was bad. He's an amazing singer, amazing musician. His music is really good. It's not my thing.
Yeah, I mean,
And like, yeah, like you can not like something but still acknowledge that it's good.
yeah, exactly.
And that's how I feel like Scream is. It's not me personally. I like it. I'm not saying it's one of those things that I don't like, but I acknowledge that it's good. I like it. But there are a lot of people that don't like it, but they still have to acknowledge that it's good.
And it's probably one of the movies that made a genre. So
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it redefined horror. I mean, before Scream, you had like horror kind of.
horror was kind of a tough spot, I would say.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you had just think of a lot of the older classic horror movies. They kind of sucked.
Yeah.
I don't know. Horror was all over the place.
It was
Yeah,
trying new things. A lot of things didn't stick, but you know what? They tried new things.
yeah. I mean, the only real good ones that stand out are like Psycho, um, Nosferatu, Frankenstein, Dracula.
The Mummy.
Oh yeah. When did that come out? Well, was that really horror or was
I
I
mean,
don't know
the
what you
first
classify
one
that as.
was the one way back in the day, but the one with Brendan Fraser, I don't really consider that horror, but I guess it's horror oriented because that's a mummy in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I consider that more like action adventure, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
No,
mean,
there was horror was all over the place, like you said.
yeah,
It was the creature from the Black Lagoon, Attack of the Giant Cheerleaders or whatever. Like really weird stuff going on.
the tallest midget.
What?
That's an actual movie. I think it was like the attack of the tallest midget. I think, but it was just like a normal sized guy.
I go to a talent show or something. I go to a circus and people are gonna be like, "What's your story?" And be like, "The world's tallest midget." You're just a regular sized guy. Am I?
Oh my god.
Also a bearded lady. But you're not a. Okay, okay. I'll give you that.
But yeah, that's the review, guys. Hope you guys enjoy it. Next movie or next episode, we're gonna combine Scream 2 and 3 together because personally for me, I don't think those movies do that well. I think Scream 2 is better than 3, but like I just feel like it'd be better to just combine the two, and then it'll be a different type of review where we just kind of like talk about key points and all that. So Also, hope you guys enjoyed this episode after a long break. Or it wasn't really a break. It's more just me and I got sick, and then we couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, it was a lot going on.
Yeah, it's a lot going on.
I got sick twice during that time.
Yeah, I got like super sick.
Yeah, I got sick and then I got better and then I got sick again. And during that time that I was feeling better, you were sick, so
Yeah.
it was
But yeah,
two questions though that now I want to ask anyone watching to post in the comments. First one is what we talked about earlier. Um, Three like, killers that you can pick to protect you from the rest of them. And the other one is, what is your favorite horror movie from like old horror movie, like pre 80s 70s horror movie from that time period? What is
Those are-
yours?
I don't think I have one. Does the Changeling count?
Maybe. When was it from?
I don't remember. I think it's 80s.
Yeah, I've never heard of it, but I'll say it counts.
We gotta watch that one because that one's also a movie that gets referenced a lot in like modern day horror.
I think mine, like non, like like an older horror movie that nobody really knows about. Is 1982 old enough? I had to
Probably.
double check when it came out.
Well, I guess no. I guess my favorite one's probably Evil Dead. Or the Evil Dead, because that came out I think in '76. Oh,
Did it
that's
come
not.
out that long ago?
Yeah. Or '78.
Yep, mine is a 1981 Madman. Remember, I when I was in like middle school or high school, I got that for Christmas because I was looking up cheesy old horror movies and I saw that and I asked my parents for it for Christmas and they got it for me on DVD.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they obviously didn't know what it was when they got it for me. It was very violent for an 80s horror movie, but yeah, that's mine. But if we got to go older than that, I'll have to think about it.
Yeah, I think about it a bit too. But yeah, let us know in the comments what you guys think, or what your guys' choices are. Also, make sure you like the video if you liked it. We are going to continue with the series for a bit, and then after the franchise, we'll probably take a break from reviews a little bit. Maybe do some maybe do a trivia night. Maybe do like a episode. Maybe they're just talking for a bit about video rental places.
Yeah, I think we should just talk about horror movies.
Yeah.
Or talk about horror in general.
Pretty much, yeah. Like I do agree with that. That'll be kind of fun to do after we get the franchise done. So.
And then we'll do more franchises. Maybe.
Maybe. We'll have to talk about it, see which we want to do next.
Chainsaw Massacre.
Maybe that. Not Leprechaun though. So you got a choice: either Chainsaw or Leprechaun.
Oh yeah, you're right. We got to do April Fools. Wasn't there one for April Fool's Day you were talking about?
Yeah, scary movie we're gonna do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day.
4th of
Was
July.
it President's Day? 4th of July. Yeah, there's a lot of holidays.
Yeah. And we will try
A lot
to
of movies.
We will try to do a theme episode for those holidays. So we will try. We're not making promises. But
I might try and wear a green shirt
don't.
if I remember.
To be honest, if you do, they're gonna see right through that shirt.
Okay, I'll buy a case of Heineken.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. And yeah, remember, like, comment. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. We're gonna come up with more of these. And yeah, hope you all have a good rest of your day and night, or wherever you're from. And we will see you in the next episode of the podcast. Everybody take care and have a fantastic time. Are you just gonna stare at the camera or are you gonna say goodbye?
Huh?
Are you gonna say goodbye or
Goodbye.
Okay.
Bye bye. Yeah, I was just trying to play something creepy.
That was nice. But oh, goodbye, everybody.
I still gotta write something.
Oh yes.
Some creepy horror music.
All right, bye, everybody.
Yeah, I definitely gotta. Bye.